good morning. Today, I want to talk about a couple of quick things for the Manifest Your Dream Life Academy. So, one, I realized that I think, in asking a bunch of people that are in the group what they like best, a lot of times people do like to have sort of a mini challenge so that you can kind of have a 3 or 5 day period of time where you implement, you learn some information and you implement that information really quickly. And in so doing, you can see some fast changes. So instead of doing the weekly Friday calls that I have been doing, I think I'm going to change it to like a monthly 3 or 5 day challenge. So in saying that, I'm going to put a poll and I'm going to email you guys also with a poll to get your suggestions and opinions on what you would like me to kind of focus on for my first 3 or 5 day challenge. I think that that's going to be a great way for you to be able to really see some major change in your life. So as I'm saying that, if you are catching this right now, if you're watching it live on Facebook or thinking about these kinds of things, I would love for you to let me know, what are you struggling with the most right now? What do you need help with the most right now? And, the topics that I can obviously cover are going to be things like healing. They're going to be things like having obstacles or blockages in your life. There's going to be I can talk about, when we have negative patterns that come in, why we have anxiety as we're making changes, pretty much a full gamut of everything that goes into really shifting your life from a core level. So please let me know. I want to do some things in response and really deliver content that is on the mark for you and going to make a major difference in your life. So that said, today I'm going to talk about something that happened recently that I think is really, really helpful for people to understand. So I have an absolutely wonderful client that I've been working with for a few months, probably 3 months now. Gosh, maybe even a little longer. I absolutely, obviously adore her as I do all my clients, but she had come out of a very difficult situation. She had had a very, very bad marriage for quite a long time, and she found the strength to be able to get out of that marriage. And she's carving out a life for herself. But needless to say, a lot of old patterns that had her in that she learned in the marriage, that she learned before the marriage, that kind of contributed to being in that kind of a marriage and so forth, are still there. So we've been working through those. She's making amazing progress. I'm so proud of her. She's just done really hard work, and I'm seeing so many amazing changes. Well, about 3 weeks ago, she had a time where she finally reached out to me and said, I'm just not doing very well. I feel like I'm going backwards. I'm so disappointed in myself. I don't want you to be disappointed in me. And, immediately, and this is one of the reasons to have someone, whether it's in this group, whether you work with me personally, whether you jump into my practitioner certifications where you get weekly support with me, weekly teaching with me, whatever it is, this is really where it becomes extremely critical to make sure that you've got someone that is going to recognize the healing crisis and help you through it, okay? Because healing is not linear. Manifestation is not linear. Change is not linear, okay? So I think the way that the world conveys change, you look at media, you look at movies, and they go to the good part, right? They're like, this person was here, they put in a bunch of work, and now they're here. But what they're not really telling you is the amount of upheaval that person went through. They're not telling you the amount of times that person hit the wall. They're not telling you, excuse me, the amount of times that someone has had an obstacle that seemed insurmountable. They're not telling you the anxiety, the depression, the sadness, the loneliness as they change, the willingness and fear around letting people and things in their lives go because they no longer serve who they are. They're not telling you those things, right? And that's a critical part of this journey. I don't care who you are. I myself, quite honestly, in the last year went through some of the biggest emotional upheavals I have ever gone through in terms of, not thankfully in my life, but internally, because I was changing at such a deep level. And there were points where I was like, this is horrible. I've never felt this way before. I don't know what to do. And that's just, thankfully, because I do this work, I knew that was a normal part of the process. And even in knowing that, it was scary to me, right? It was overwhelming at moments to me. So I want to tell you so that this is normal, right? So we see these big epic, overnight successes and these big epic stories that, this happened and that happened and it's amazing, right? And that's all well and good. Sorry, my reminder just came up. That's all well and good, but they are missing some of the most vital and important parts of the change process. Okay. So in saying that, as I say, I was working with this wonderful client, and I was like, number one, I am not disappointed in you on any possible level. Number two, this was expected. Like, we did some really hard work in December to allow her to validate her really rage and anger at some things. She had every right to feel, but everyone had always told her she didn't have a right to feel anger, right? We get really afraid of anger. Anger is simply a conduit to letting you know that something is off in your life and that you are at the point where you can't stand it anymore. You don't want to stand it anymore. So when we shove it back in, it becomes very detrimental. It can be used as a force for good. Unfortunately, if we don't recognize it as that moment and we don't release it, it gets shoved in and then it becomes something that can either manifest as a disease, or it becomes these like rage blowups we see, or it becomes, it just becomes a wall in a lot of ways, honestly. So we did that work. It was hard work. She was willing to confront it. She was unbelievable with it, honestly. And then we hit the holidays. Well, the holidays, as I talked about, I think in one of the trainings here in Manifest Your Dream Life, the holidays are a huge trigger for everybody. I don't know anybody who doesn't have some triggers through the holidays. And the holidays are inherently, as I think I said in the training, the holidays are inherently made to be a trigger because we have tradition. And tradition is nothing if not ritual that is something we have passed down again and again and again through generations even. This is how we always do this, right? And so then on top of it, there's all of these emotional things going on, oftentimes with difficulties within a family members being forced together that have never honestly tried to solve issues they have. So those things are going to inherently be triggers. It's completely normal. I can't tell you the number of clients I have that have a really hard time through the holidays, really because of this. There's nothing wrong with you if you've had that experience. There's nothing, you're not doing something wrong. It's just what happens. It's very normal. It's a very human response. And in fact, it's essentially the same process we're using in the Manifest Your Dream Life and in the flow method of creating a ritual that creates these new neural pathways that associates certain outside triggers with certain emotional feelings, as well as with changing your life, with actually retuning the frequency of your mind, right? So it's really that process. It's just we're unconscious of it, generally speaking. So there's every reason why somebody would have a down period during the holidays because of all those triggers. But the good thing is, okay, so when we are healing, when we are changing, when we are shifting who we truly are into what we desire to be, it may seem, and I talked, I think last week about breakdown or breakthrough, it oftentimes does feel like everything is breaking down and we're doing something wrong, right? We're doing something's gone wrong. We've made a bad decision, whatever that is. And on top of that, we do oftentimes have a fear of asking for support or admitting that we're having a hard time, right? So that combination can be really, really difficult, really powerful. When I looked at what she was going through, it was honestly fully expected. You have to understand when you've made some radical changes to some pretty big underlying things, beliefs and issues, that gets healed. And then, people talk about it being like an onion, and it really kind of is. I kind of think of it almost like, a scab, and then there's a wound underneath, and so now we've healed that one scab is healed up, it's new skin, but there's something deeper that's now going to expose itself and let us know that that's what's going on. So if we can, in those moments, know how to reach out for support, understand that this is part of the process, and be willing to kind of ride through it a little bit and look for what are the lessons right now? What is poking out to me right now that I need to deal with and heal on? then we can make big changes from there. One of the things I recommend that you do, gosh, I got reminders all over the place. One of the things that I recommend that you do is go back and take that flow factor test again. So if you're going through a down period, go back and take the flow factor test again and see, has anything else, has an area increased? Because that could be the next area that's sort of raising its hand that you need to look at, and that you can work through the practices in the flow method book and be able to do that. That's a really good thing to do because it can show you in black and white what's going on. The next thing is listen to your intuition, pay attention. What kinds of things have you been through? What things have you healed? Where have you changed? And then you've got to kind of expect that you're going to then have this next period of almost like these things bubbling to the surface so that you can heal that next layer and have that happen. I'm happy to say with my client, we were able, because of her being willing to share with me what was going on and being willing to be vulnerable and ask for support, I was able to go straight to the next point. And in 2 sessions, she's now a completely different person. We now healed some deep, deep stuff that wasn't showing up at first, but has now revealed itself. Okay. So when you're willing to kind of see that difficult process as something that, while it sucks, you can actually get through and use it for your next level, then you can honestly heal something even deeper and see even bigger changes in your life. So that's kind of the message I wanted to deliver to you today. I hope it resonates. I hope it helps somebody out there with anything that you're going through or feeling right now. Again, when you're going through these healing crises, you can post in the group. There's one area where you can obviously get support. You can reach out to me. I'm not doing one-on-one sessions as much anymore, but I'm doing one-on-one sessions, but I'm doing them as a package now because it's just easier to be able to, excuse me, to get people through in several sessions. So please feel free to reach out. I've got another new thing that's going to come out in the next month called Decode Your Disease. And that's going to be a 5-day process to really learning how to translate what's going on in particular in your body right now and being able to use that skill set for yourself. And then, of course, for those of you that really want to go deeper and you really would like to be able to not just use this for yourself, but also use it for other people in just amazing, miraculous, awesome ways, you can reach out to me to find out more about the practitioner certification. I've got some really cool bonuses I'm super excited about, one of which is getting a retreat with me to really, really kind of soak everything in. So reach out at ASAP if this speaks to you. That's awesome. In the meantime, if you are going through a period like this, again, make sure that you are posting in the group. I'm here to help. That's what I do. And make sure that obviously if you like this video, if this has been meaningful to you, please make sure that you are sharing it with others that this training could be helpful for. Thanks so much. See you guys again next week. Please look for the email from me on the different ideas I have for being able to provide some 3 and 5 day challenges that I think are going to be really meaningful and helpful for you. And please, if you see it in the group, you're welcome to just vote in the group as well. See you guys soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Sending you love, joy, peace, and all good things always. Bye.